Hey guys, I'm Danika, and today I'm going to be doing a fun little baking video. I'm going to be making scones, and if you're new here, you would know, or you wouldn't know, that I typically do exercise videos, so I'm kind of switching it up. But yeah, so I'm making scones because I have a brunch tomorrow and everybody's bringing something, and this is what I'm going to bring. I'll link the recipe down in the description so that you guys can do it, follow along, whatever floats your boat. Yeah, I have all my ingredients in front of me, so I'm all prepared. Yeah, let's just get started. So here's the flour. Also, by the way, I'm gonna be doubling the whole recipe, so just be aware. So the first step is whisk flour, sugar, salt, and baking powder together in a large bowl. So we open this up. Flour and powdered sugar are the two substances in the kitchen that are just so difficult for me. Like, they get everywhere. Okay. And then just scrape it off. Also, I bake pretty frequently, so this shouldn't be a fail. Like, 4 cups of flour. There's the second cup, third cup, and fourth cup. Okay, so we're done with all of the flour. Also, I'm gonna be making, I don't know if you guys know the difference, but there's 2 different types of scones. There's like cutout scones, which are like the ones in the triangles, and then there's drop scones, which are just like in little like blobs. I'm gonna be doing the drop scones because those are easier. Okay, so what do we have to do now? Sugar. So we need, this recipe says a 1/2 cup, but I'm doubling it. So I'm going to be doing 1 cup. So this is a 1/2 cup measuring scoop, so I'll do it twice. Perfect. Now the salt and the baking powder. I made such a big mess with the flour over here already. Okay, salt and baking powder. So a teaspoon of salt and 2.5 was 2.5. 5 teaspoons of baking powder. Okay. So teaspoon. Also, fun fact for you guys, 3 teaspoons equal a tablespoon. So I'm gonna be doing a tablespoon and 2 teaspoons of baking powder, just to make that easier for myself. Tablespoon. One. And 2. Okay, now I'm gonna do the salt. Yeah, that's the next step. Okay. A teaspoon of salt. Also, whenever you do salt, don't do it over the bowl, because what I just did is I spilled it all over the edge, and you don't want to make it extra salty. That would not be good. Okay, now whisk it all up. Let me move some of my stuff out of the way. Grab a whisk. Also, this is going to be a pretty chillax video. I'm not answering questions. I'm not talking a whole lot because, I don't know, don't have much to say. So, okay. Oh boy, I remember doing this next step last time, and it was not my favorite thing ever. So what you have to do is, the next step is grate the frozen butter using a box grater. So I put 2 sticks of butter in the freezer, and so now they're like solid, and then I have to grate it, and it just gets all sorts of gross. Okay, so this is mixed pretty well, I think. So I'll set that over there. I'm gonna go grab the box grater, a plate, and the butter, and I'll be back. And I'm back. Okay, so I'm gonna stick this in this little Tupperware, And then here's my 2 sticks of butter, and they're like rock solid. Like I can't even smush them at all. And then I'm gonna use like the big grate. I don't know what that's called, but like the one that's big on the grater. Actually, I'm gonna put this back in the freezer so then it doesn't like melt at all. Okay, so here we go. The recipe calls for a 1/2 cup, which is 1 stick, but I'm doubling it, so we're gonna need 2 sticks. I'm gonna do a little ASMR. Also, by the way, I washed my hands, guys, don't worry. I'm gonna do some ASMR, so now I'm gonna stop talking and just listen. Hey guys, this is Danika in the future, and I am editing the video right now, and I just listened to the whole section of me grating the butter, and I'm not sure if the noise could have been much more annoying. So for your guys' sake, I'm gonna take my quote-unquote ASMR out of it. Yeah, I don't know why I came up with that idea in the moment, but it just wasn't quite it. So yeah, have fun watching. Okay, I'm done doing the ASMR. This is so annoying to do. But pretty much the point of doing this is so that you get like a flaky scone. So there's like little butter like chunks in it, I guess. So it's important, but I'm not a huge fan of doing it. Okay, so the next step after doing this is adding it to the flour mixture.
1 eternity later.
Yep, I'm still grating butter. Okay, so I finally finished grating the butter, and now I'm just gonna try to get it all off of the grater so I don't like waste any butter. So I'm just using a rubber spatula to do it. It's all stuck in here. It's fascinating. This is a lot of butter. Holy moly, I thought this container was gonna be plenty big. Okay, so I've made a huge mess, but we're finally here. I've grated all the butter. I have my pastry blender. I have my flour mixture. I'm gonna take the whisk out, and then I think we'll be ready to put all of the butter in. So all that you do is you just shove it all in. And I'm fearful that it's now sticking to the Tupperware, but we'll see. Also, FYI, I wouldn't say this is the healthiest breakfast ever, so don't look at this as a breakfast with a huge amount of health benefits. Now I'm gonna take my pastry blender and just smush it all together. You can also do this with a fork if you don't have a pastry blender. I've also heard of people taking 2 knives and going opposite ways, but I've tried that and it doesn't. I haven't been able to figure it out, so I don't know. So it's supposed to get to pea-sized crumbs, so I'm just hoping that I can get it that small. Okay, now that I have it all crumbled in there, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but they're kind of a tad bit big, but it's like that. Okay, so now you place it in the refrigerator or freezer while you mix the wet ingredients together so the butter doesn't like dissolve or melt anymore. So I'm gonna do that and I'll be back. So I was hoping to be able to fit in the freezer, but there was absolutely no space whatsoever, so it went in the refrigerator. Okay, so now I'm gonna get a smaller bowl. Hopefully this is big enough. I'm not sure, it might be too small, we'll see. So it says, whisk a 1/2 cup of heavy cream, the egg and vanilla extract together in a small bowl. Drizzle over the flour mixture, add the add-ins, and then mix together until everything appears moistened. Okay, so whisk a 1/2 cup of heavy cream. So we're doubling it, so it's gonna be a cup. And in the ingredients, it said a 1/2 cup of heavy cream or buttermilk. So we didn't have either. So I frequently do this when I'm making recipes, but I did a buttermilk substitute. And so literally all you have to do for that is have a cup of regular milk, like whole 2%, whatever it is, and a tablespoon of either vinegar or lemon juice. I used vinegar because it typically works better for me. And then you just mix it together and it kind of looks really gross, but it makes this like milk that looks like it's curdled, and that's how it's supposed to be. Like, look how chunky it is. It's kind of gross, but don't worry, you've done it right if that happens. Okay. Oh, and it has to sit for 5 minutes after you stir the acidity with the milk. Okay, so we need a cup of this. Ooh, it's splashing. Okay, we need an egg, but we're doubling, so 2 eggs. Also, I always recommend getting your ingredients to room temperature, like the milk and the eggs, because it'll incorporate a lot easier. So, an egg, and then 1 more egg. Also, I always crack my eggs against the table, because if you do it against the bowl, you kind of have to imagine it, but if you push the egg against the bowl, the shell goes into the egg, which will result in shell being in the egg in the bowl. But if you do it on the table, it's like a flat crack and doesn't make a huge mess. Okay, and then vanilla extract. So we need 3 teaspoons, which is 1 tablespoon. I'm just gonna use, this looks clean enough. I'm gonna use this one. So I bake a ton. So I have this humongous jar or container of vanilla extract. It's the clear imitation stuff because sometimes with some recipes, I don't want the like brown coloring to affect the color of the food, like icing and stuff. So here we go. Ooh, a little too much, but it's okay. And now, what is it? Whisk it together. It's always so much fun to chase the egg yolks around the bowl and try to break them. Okay, I have this all combined. So let me move a couple of things. There's myself out there. I'm gonna go grab the bowl of the flour and the butter and stuff, and so that I can add this to that. I'll be back. Okay, now I have both bowls. How does it say to mix it? So just mix. I'm not gonna use the whisk because there's like the really nice butter balls. And so, oh my God, I'm literally a child. So I'm not gonna use the whisk because it'll break them. So here, I'm drizzling it over. Okay, and now I'll grab a bigger spatula, I think. Or should I do a wooden spoon? Maybe use a wooden spoon. So here's my wooden spoon. So I'm kind of mixing like halfway, like I'm kind of incorporating it, but not all the way, because now I have to add my mix-ins. So what's really cool about this recipe is it says you can do a cup to a cup and a half of whatever mix-ins you want. So I'm doing chocolate, blueberries, and I'm not sure if I should do almonds, pecans, or walnuts, or all of them. So yeah, I have to think about that. But so for this, we can do up to 3 cups of add-ins. So I'm gonna get one of the liquid measuring cups, which I think will be easiest to measure all of it. So this is just one that does 2 cups. So we'll start off with this. So I just used some frozen blueberries because that was just simple and easy. Let me grab a spoon. I'm gonna just put them in here, and I'm gonna try to not get any of the extra liquid, just the blueberries. And I just kind of estimated how many blueberries. I have no idea if I should have done more or less, but. I don't know if I said this, but they're frozen, and oh my God, my camera's about to die. They're frozen and I defrosted them. I'm gonna do all the add-ins. Actually, I'll do all the add-ins. I'm gonna chop up the nuts, do the chocolate, mix it all in, and then I'll get back to you for making the scones, like putting them on the pan, putting them into the oven and all that fun stuff. Okay, so my camera died, but now I'm back. I mixed all of my mix-ins into my dough. If I were to make one recommendation, it would be that you do all of your, like, completely stir the dough with your hard mix-ins, like your pecans, your nuts, your like chocolate, whatever, and then add in the fruits, because the blueberries all kind of got mashed, and it'll still taste delicious, but it's a little not quite it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna be doing the drop scones. If you guys want to do the triangle scones, then go look at the recipe in the description, because it also says how to make those. So I have two different sizes for the scoops. I think I'm gonna go with this one because it's a little bit bigger, and I think it'll, I don't know, I think that's the size I'm going for. Okay, so it says to put them 3 inches apart, but scones don't spread a ton, so I'm gonna go a little bit closer than that, just so that I can get them all on the pan. So I'll start over here and just scoop. And yeah, so I'm just gonna keep on going with all of them. Maybe we can do 3 in a row. I think that'll work. Also, when I stirred my dough, I stirred it until it was just mixed enough. Like, I didn't want to overdo it because it just kept smashing the blueberries more and more. I have so much batter. I'm gonna make so many scones, oh my gosh. Okay. Also, the oven should not be preheating yet, because after this step, we put them in the refrigerator for 15 minutes, I think it is. Let's check. Yeah, 15 minutes, so then they don't spread during the baking process. And you can make these whatever size you want. The recipe, this recipe specifically yields 8 large scones or 16 small scones. And since I doubled it, it'll be 32, yeah, that's right, 32 small or 16 large. But I feel like I'm gonna have a lot more than that, so. Okay, so before I move on to the next pan, I'm going to show you what to do with this pan before you put them. Oh, my camera's going to die again. I'm going to show you really quick. So you just take some milk. It's recommended that you use heavy cream, but I don't have any, so milk will do. And you also should do it with like a pastry brush, but the one that I have is dirty right now, so I won't be using that. And you just kind of smear it along the top. This will make them really nice and golden brown. And so just do this to all of them. And also right now, if you want to put like coarse sugar on the top of yours, you can. But after they come out of the oven, I'll be doing icing on the top. So yeah, just go ahead, do them to all of them, and then put them in the refrigerator for 15 minutes. And then I'll meet you guys to put them in the oven. So see you in 15. So the scones have chilled for 15 minutes. So now they are gonna go in the oven.
A few moments later.
So I took the scones out of the oven. I'm gonna let them cool on the pan for like a couple minutes, 2 or 3 probably, and then I'm gonna put them on a cooling rack, and then I'll get back to you. Hey guys, so I am back. I put all the scones in the oven. They've all come out. Most of them are in the cooling racks. There's some behind me over there cooling on the pan still. I decided to not do the coarse sugar on top, but instead I'm gonna make a frosting. So I'm kind of just making this up, but I've done it before and it works. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take powdered sugar. Let me grab a spoon real quick. I am just gonna put some powdered sugar into this bowl. I'm just kind of guesstimating. Probably like that much is good. You don't need a whole lot of frosting because you're just doing like a little drizzle, glaze, something like that. And then I'm going to do some vanilla extract. Oh, seems good. You can do any extract that you want. I was debating doing lemon, but then I just chose vanilla. You could also do almond, raspberry, whatever floats your boat. And then I'm just gonna add a little bit of water to this. Okay, I put some water in and now we'll stir it up. So if it's too thick, you add more water, and if it's too thin, add more powdered sugar. Okay, I need more water. Okay, still need more water. Oh wow, I put a lot of water that time. So I'm using a spatula to mix it just so that I can get to like the corners, but if your powdered sugar is more like clumped, then you should probably use a whisk so then there aren't as many clumps. Okay, so my consistency is like that. Now I think it's too thin. So now I have to add more powdered sugar back into it. I typically end up making a lot more frosting than I start out deciding that I'm going to make because I keep adding more sugar and more water. Okay, I think this seems like a pretty good consistency, but I'm going to use a whisk because mine does actually have clumps in it. So this is the consistency. If you wanted to spice it up a little bit, you could color it, but my scones, if you look at them, they're like already blue, so I'm just gonna do white. So I decided that I was gonna do it in a piping bag and like glaze it like, you know, like the stripes on top. So I have this ginormous piping bag and I'm gonna put it in, oh, actually first, I'm gonna put the coupler in, so this little white piece, down in the bottom. And then I'm gonna put my piping tip on. This is a size 2. It's just like the circle. It's a really small circle. And then this cap. And then put this over into here. This is how I always fill piping bags. Ooh, that was loud. Okay, so I have that set up. I'm gonna see if these scones behind me are ready to be put on the cooling tray. The answer is yes, so now they are coming on the cooling tray. Now I'm gonna put the frosting into the piping bag. So I'm gonna scrape it all off the whisk. Let's do a little taste test. Very good job. Okay, so here we go. So all the frosting is now in my piping bag. I'm gonna let all of them cool completely. Some of them just came off the pan, so they're still a little bit warm. And then I'll come back to you guys and frost them. And then they'll be done. And of course we have to have a little taste test, so we'll have that. Okay, see ya. Okay guys, I'm back for the last step before the taste test. This is most definitely my favorite step. It's so much fun, so satisfying. So I have my frosting that we put in the like little bag that's on a cup. So I'm gonna take it out. Oh my gosh, this piping bag is so big. And it's very liquidy, so be very careful. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go back and forth across all of them. And I'm gonna do like a crosshatch, so it's gonna go both ways, I think. So also I have my pan set up so that my cooling trays are on top of the pan, so that I don't have to clean the counter. and all the frosting doesn't pool by the bottom of the scones. So here we go. So I'm gonna twist and just go back and forth. Ooh, this frosting is such a good thickness. It's so good. And I put all the scones close together so that if I ever went over, like, the other scone would get the frosting. Also, what I would recommend is I actually already did a taste test because I didn't know how sweet I made them, like how sweet they turned out, and if I needed like frosting to help them out, or if they were good like by themselves. So I would recommend doing that. Also, just keep in mind, this is how many ended up coming out after I doubled the recipe. These are pretty big scones, I think. I mean, I've never really bought a scone before, but like they seem pretty big. This frosting seems like the perfect amount too. So I thought my battery was gonna die again. If you guys have tips for how to make the camera light battery life longer, I'd really appreciate to hear it because this battery life is just not doing the trick. It dies so quickly. Also, by the way, this is a Sony ZV-1. Okay, so what I've decided is I'm just gonna do them all the same direction, like just one way. But on the first ones, I didn't put as much frosting, so I'm gonna go back and add some more to those. Also, a tip, when you don't have a lot of frosting left, get like a huge air bubble in the bag because it will push out the frosting that's in the tip that you can't really squeeze yourself. Let's see, they look pretty good. This kind of drizzle makes them look really fancy, but if you don't have a piping bag, you can just use like a Ziploc baggie and cut off the tip, or if you don't even have that, you can use a fork or just kind of smear it on, whatever floats your boat. I realized I was editing a video the other day, I use that saying so much, whatever floats your boat. It's really probably problematic. Okay, this is gonna be the last one. I'm really low on frosting. So here are the final scones, all drizzled with glaze. I made a bunch, so they look really good. Okay, so here's the final taste test that you guys have been waiting for. Let's see, which one looks good? I'm gonna take this one. Let's see. They're really good. They're really soft. So I ended up doing pecans, blueberries, and chocolate. They're so good together. I would highly recommend you make the recipe. Thank you for coming along and making these with me. Yeah, it's tons of fun. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff, turn on the notification bell. I don't have a very regular posting schedule, which is why it's important to turn on the notification bell so you get notified every time I post a new video. I think that's all. If you have any other comments, anything else you'd like to say, comment that below. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Bye!